Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Christy, and we work with Globe International.
Working with missionaries, we hear stories of the struggles, the humor, God's goodness, and a little side of crazy.
Hey, that's who we are.
This is Crazy Missionary Stories.
Hello and welcome back to Crazy Missionary Stories. Today we have Sudip Khadka with us, who has been serving in ministry for 30 plus years. So Sudip, will you tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing on the mission field?
I'm a pastor, and we have 3 children homes, 1 school of ministry, littlest elderly home, and many churches. Basically, I'm overseeing it, providing the leadership to it.
Wow, and where is that?
That's in Nepal and India. And so our work is in Nepal, India, and Bhutan and Tibet.
Oh, wow.
So how did you first get into missions?
When I came to the Lord, I wasn't thinking of serving anything like that. And I came from Hindu background. So I had a God encounter. And then my pastor, who was the first believer of our nation, and he went to prison, and then I knew how to read and write. That's all it took me, because his wife could not read and write. So she asked me to read the scripture, and that's possibly my introduction to the ministry or mission.
Wow, so you were reading the Bible to her.
To her and the little congregation we had there.
And that's how you came to know Christ.
That's how I came into ministry, but coming to Christ is more, we call boarding school. That also had a hostel. So I stayed in that hostel for education, and he used to run a little fellowship, and it was underground fellowship, maybe 10, 15 kids that joined. And when he was speaking, that's when I met Christ.
Wow. So how did you get started into having children's homes and elderly homes? How did that all come about?
When I was 11, I was kicked out of my family. I stayed at the orphanage children's home for 7 years.
Wow.
And finished my school. Later, my pastor and his wife passed away many years later, and then I had the heart to help the kids. And especially we had this civil war, basically with a Maoist communist, and the country was going through a really desperate situation. And Maoist communists were abducting families, especially the older kids and so on, and a lot of time the men in the house. They would take them as a guerrilla army. And the war left a lot of orphans. That was one side of it. And also the city I live at that time had almost 5 million people. There were a lot of street kids, at least 5,000 street kids based on the research of those days. So 1998, I started a first children home. With the elderly home, I always loved old people. And I felt like they always blessed me. They were very nice. And I was living in one side of the city in Kathmandu, and I saw one of the boys mistreating grandmother really bad. He was pulling grandmother. Grandmother was like saying, "Don't pull me, don't pull me." But he was really, and I went and talked to him. That's one picture that always stood for me. Second one was I was in South Nepal in 2005 or so. And I saw a woman, just a skeleton. She had only bones and lack of food, and there was people neighborhood nobody was caring. So I came back, told my family, and say, "Hey, we have to do something." And then that we as a church started taking care of the old people that were in really desperate need for food and health, medical things.
Wow. That's incredible.
So your church began to provide for that there in Nepal, or was that from stateside that was sending?
We had the church start all this, and of course then later our supporters, we started talking about it, and our supporters started helping children home and elderly home both. It is very small elderly home.
You say small. How many people are in it?
Right now we have 6. Okay. We don't have many. We have a 3 children home, and total in 3 we have 98 children.
98. Wow.
And it's been going since 1998.
Wow.
And I have a kids who are married, who run the children home, who are pastors, who are joined the public services. And in fact, I have one kid who lives in San Diego and has 2 kids. And with he and his wife, I have one kid in Denmark, one kid in England. I have a few kids in Australia. I have one in South Korea.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, it's many years. If you are thinking of starting from 98 and today is 2025, that's how many years back.
Wow.
So you get to watch them grow up and start families of their own.
Yeah, and I'm actually, for some, I'm grandfather. For some, I'm a dad. Still, for some, I'm a pastor. I stay in touch with them. Few of them are pastors. I visit them.
Wow.
That's incredible. Is this a children's home? Is both boys and girls, or it's just a boys' home?
Boys and girls.
Both, okay.
Both. And the way I saw those early days was how to bring a transformation, how to bring change in Nepal. How do I, reach Nepal? And also, how do I remember always Billy Graham said, you go one hand with the gospel, another hand with the water. And that was the way I saw, humanitarian work through the NGO and also gospel. So I remember doing massive crusades and evangelistic program, leadership. In one hand, the other side is helping the schools, helping the children that are in need, and social work, all that.
Wow. So could you tell us a little bit about the crusades that you were a part of?
We did many. That I can't even count anymore how many we did, leadership meeting. I remember coordinating one that possibly is the biggest one, was that we had 375 pastors in the board to hold the crusade. And we took the stadium and we had 30,000 each day. I think that was 2008. And that was possibly the biggest one. And the funny thing about that was that we had a hospital ambulance bringing the sick people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very interesting that some people were afraid to pray for sick. Those who were in the ministry, God will heal you, but let me pray. But they didn't have the real faith that was activated. But I remember a lot of young, when I say young, between 18 to 25 people, years of age, they would go pray for the people. They would, we had 600 volunteers. They were praying, casting the demons out, and speaking, declaring the healing from sicknesses and disease. It was phenomenon. It was really good. For me, the number doesn't matter. I always spoke for 5 people or 10 people. But we did many of them across the country. We did many leadership conferences for 2-3 days. I think I'm still doing the leadership meetings. The goal is to do 5 of them in a year. The leadership ones are, after 2017, we had the situation where we could not do much outreach outside in the streets or public area because of the law. But I'm still very active doing the leadership meetings. That could be for 15, 10, to 200, 300, 500. The biggest one I have put the leadership meeting is for 1,500 pastors. The rest is 1,200, 1,000, 500, 330. Wow. The number is never the issue, but everywhere I go, the goal is to see how many people we can put it. And then somebody taught me a long time ago, I can go to one church and it will take my weekends to speak. Or I can put the whole area together and bring all the church leaders of different denomination, different background, and I can do the teaching. And this is the method I've been using now. Wow. Is when I go somewhere, I love as many as people can join. And so that way, I want to see the kingdom advances even bigger, rapidly.
So is this training in Nepal?
In Nepal, primarily, but I have been to India. I have,
Wow.
Yeah. The last time I was in India was 2022.
Okay.
I've not gone back. It was more not for the leadership, but it was more for the speaking in the churches.
So in these leadership trainings, are you training people to become pastors?
These are more encouragement meetings for a lot of lay leaders and the pastors. What I saw is that when you have a religion in you, you get stagnant, you get locked, you have and sometimes it's good to have, I always have friends as well with me. We go in an area and say, hey, if that particular village has a 28 churches, how do we put them together? We put them together and we would have different teachings. It is good for the lay leaders who are working among the youth, among the women and the pastors. And we kind of activate the churches, basically. We do that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love that. So could you tell us a little bit about the laws? You mentioned something about the law kind of forbidding you to go out in the streets. Could you tell us a little bit for those who might not know about Nepal and what the religion and the laws are like there with Christianity?
Well, our country was a Hindu country for 270 years. In 2005 or so, this became like federal or secular country. But still we have 80% people Hindus and then 15% Buddhist. So it is a majority Hindu-dominated country in every way. It became a little bit, because of political instability, it became open a little bit until 2017. And 2017, they implemented, they called anti-conversion law. Part of that wasn't so seriously implemented, but it stopped the outdoor meetings. And also, they could use that against any pastors or any gospelization people, against. So, yes, you can a little bit be active in the cities because it is crowded, and you can run away for after 20, 30 minutes. But then in the villages, it's very effective. So you are not in trouble until somebody goes and complains to the police. Okay. So once they complain, then you possibly have to face the lawsuit and maybe go into police custody or you stay in a prison. Like, for example, during the COVID, even somebody preaching on a Facebook or doing online meetings, they were in trouble.
Oh, wow.
They were in police custody for 6 months or so. Wow. And there are a bunch of friends in Nepal that they have a lawsuit, So I think it depends on the surrounding area where it is strong Orthodox Hindu believers or Hindu people or extremist groups. So if you are caught by those extremist groups that are trying to bring Nepal back as a Hindu nation, then you are even in big trouble. You can do it depending on the area, but still when you are doing baptism, you are praying for somebody's conversion, you want to make sure you are protected. You just want to watch it.
So are the people themselves open to hearing about Christianity?
Majority of the people are open.
Okay.
Majority of the people are open.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear, so you were born and raised in Nepal?
I am born and raised in Nepal, yeah.
And so you've been a Globe missionary for, you said, 23 years?
23 years.
How did you find Globe International?
I was pastoring the church in Nepal many, many years back. I was very active. But eventually in my heart, I lost the fire. I was young, had a lot of energy, of course, a lot of smile, but lost the fire. And I was in India. I think 1998 or so, somebody showed me a brochure of somebody raising hands and praising. There was a revival happening here called Brownsville Revival, and I said to God, I would love to go in a place that I can be free and raise the hands, because in that time in Nepal you cannot do that. And we had to even watch our sound would go, not cross across the wall. It was very sensitive time for gospel or believers. So I came to the revival, and after 2 years later or so, I joined Globe.
So you came to Liberty Bible College?
No, I came to Brownsville School of Ministry.
Bible. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so all the way from India to Pensacola
Yeah.
after seeing a brochure.
Yeah, I mean, it was God thing.
Yes.
I didn't even have the money to travel. My sister and brother-in-law were Hindus, and they had sold their property. And they wanted me to do something, and they gave me around, in those days, maybe $1,500 worth money. And my brother-in-law said, hey, I want you to do something. And that was good enough for me to get a plane ticket. And then I went to embassy for visa, and the counselor said, hey, who is going to do all you are doing? And I said, what do you mean? He said, I see you are, you have a church, you have this, you are running NGO. When you go to, I said, it was not about me. And I asked him for, I think it was 6-month visa. He gave me for 3 years visa. I went in the morning in a prayer meetings in the church every day, and I had this lady come to me. You would not call her prophetess, but she said, hey, Sudip, I saw a dream that you are going to U.S. I said, hey, I'm not interested to go to U.S. because when I was early 20s, I was like dreaming to go to U.S. And in fact, there was other dreams with the U.S. connected. But then after that, I had lost that, desire to travel to U.S. And when she said it, everything was being placed for me to come to revival. The other thing I remember was, I think they had a prophecy from someone, I think it was Sandy Jacobs, or that there would be a man coming from Nepal. And so everything was placed in God's divine appointment and timing. And I made it, and I'm here.
So you came to the revival. How long were you here?
I was here for 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
And what was that like? That was your first time in the U.S.,
Yeah,
right?
it was first time.
So could you tell us a little bit about your experience? What was that like?
I think it was quite fun. I remember because I met very little in Nepal, and there was a guy, he was a church believer, and he had made me a suit, and it was expensive. And he wanted to give me as a gift. And very much I lived, my life was what church gave me. It was total dependence with God. And I come here and I have never used the washing machine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you had to put $1 to run the washing machine. I had no clue. I put this nice suit in the washing machine.
Oh, my goodness.
And I did not know the program, I was just not paying any details. Once it was finished washing, my suit became a barbecue chicken. It was so totally messed up. It was terrible.
Oh, no.
That's the way I got introduced to washing machine, all right? Second thing I remember was, now you are thinking of a man that's coming from not having electricity, proper one, going in a power cut a lot. And then English was also even worse than now. I would say a lot of things, and I think somebody told me they could not be my friend anymore.
Oh, no.
Because I would not know the boundaries, what I'm saying with the language. I messed up a lot.
Do you remember anything
I
you
would
said?
not use those words now. I would not use that. But
You were just experimenting
I
with the language.
was. And the good thing was,
That could be a crazy missionary story right there.
yeah, the funny thing was, I went to someone's house and they had a popcorn. And we in Nepal, we always take the mice and old ways, put a fire, and then you kind of heat the pot. And here's somebody taking a popcorn and putting in a microwave. It blew my mind.
Wow.
It's like, wow, look at America. This is crazy. You can just, And so there were so many things that it took me maybe 6 months or so to be really settled in my mind. This is how it is. This is how it is. But I remember I had a favor of God. People loved me. A lot of my friends loved me. I met a lot of friends. I'm still connected to them. It was very good.
Wow, what a cool experience.
It was quite a journey.
It sounds like an adventure.
It was. It was a good adventure. And the one thing you should hear is I came to Pensacola from Seattle. I lost my flight. There was a dormitory not far from here, and I was supposed to go there, but there was nobody because my flight was delayed, and those days I didn't even have a cell phone to connect. I took a cab or taxi, and I told him to drop me, but it is closed. In the middle of the night, I'm like, where am I going? So he said, hey, would you come and stay with me? And I said, okay. And I stayed the night at the taxi driver's place.
Wow.
And I remember he had his daughter sick. And I prayed. And she got well next morning. And next morning he dropped me. And I said, how much should I pay you? Because I stayed. And he said, no, you are a blessing. In fact, I will give you $40 here.
He paid you.
He paid me. And that has never happened before or after.
Wow.
It is a God thing.
Yeah.
Praise
Amazing.
God.
Yeah.
So during your time here in the Brownsville revival, is that so you kind of got like a re-spark for ministry?
Reignited,
And
yeah.
is that where your vision came from for starting some children's homes, or had you already done that at that point?
School, children, not the school, but the children home, churches were already there.
Okay.
I remember America did not pull me in. Everybody would talk to me and say, look at America. And I said, what is here that I should be proud of? Of course, I lost my shoot and then popcorn thing, but some of these things were funny and all that, but nothing pulled me in. I went back straight. I wasn't, I remember, stopping by Shoney's and having ice cream or that. It wasn't for me attraction. I went straight back. I was a young man. I didn't have a girlfriend. I went back to Nepal. Of course, it was a harder life, but my heart, even here, I remember so many preachers would come during revival, big names. It did not matter to me, because I really needed God. It did not matter how many books they wrote or who they were. It wasn't my flavor, and I was just after God. Yeah, and God took me back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us for part 1 of Sudip Khadka. Join us next week for the continuation of his Crazy Missionary Stories.
Thank you guys so much for listening to Crazy Missionary Stories. If you are listening on Spotify, don't forget to follow us and give us a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, and of course, share it with your friends. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.